Snap to cover. Tutorial.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 from Snap to Cover's 5 Minutes of Soul. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at all the heavies in the Megacons. So as I did the last time, I'm going to put these into categories. Maneuverability being 1, personal ability being 2, armor and failure comprising of category 3, and then FN, courage, and repair as category 4. I'm going to run through these, and then I'm going to actually show you what I had to do to kind of tweak the outcome of my results. So let's start by looking at maneuverability. I'm sure it comes as no surprise that the USCR Behemoth is going to come in as the least favorable in this category, with the top 3 of my choices being the FCC Boomer, the Kemvar Heavy, and the Cephadu Heavy. Then we go to the personal abilities. Now the personal abilities, the worst one of the group would probably be the Cephadu Heavy. Rounding out the top 3 are going to be the Waza Heavy, the Kemvar Heavy, and the USCR Behemoth. For armor and failure, the bottom of the poll for me is the Kemvar Heavy. He has the worst armor and failure by far of all the other Megacons. Everybody else in this area was fairly even, with the best having to go to the USCR Behemoth. I gave him a 5 in this category. When we look at the 4th trait, we got FN, courage, and repair. In this area, again, the USCR Behemoth, I gave a 5. Surpasses everybody else in my opinion. My next 2 favorite would have to be the Cephadu Heavy, the Texaco Heavy, and my least favorite, again, for FN, courage, and repair, would have to be the Kemvar Heavy. So when I look at these 4 attributes, or columns, or areas that I grouped up to make these comparisons, all the heavies actually came out within 0.25 of the number 3. So they're all fairly even when I look at all those stats combined. However, I went a little bit further, and I felt, because we're dealing with heavies, that they brought something else to the table. And compared to any of the other troops, they can do what I called potential carnage. We always err on the side of carnage. So what I did is to try to separate them a little bit more, because again, if I sit here and tell you the Kemvar Heavy is the worst heavy in the game, the forums are going to light up. He certainly is not, but the way that I got around that is I added this other column or area I was going to look at, which is potential carnage. When we look at that, I'm going to start. My least favorite in this area would be the Cephadu Heavy. He has a template, but his range is limited. So this is where, and I'm going to explain my choices on some of these, because I think they're important. The one that comes out on top, in my eyes, is the Kemvar Heavy. He has an extended T, and he gets 4 attacks against every target that it hits. So on Overwatch, the devastation that this one model can cause, along with heroic, so the personal ability combined with potential carnage really is where I kind of focused on this. And in this category, by far, the Kemvar Heavy is by far the best. The USCR Behemoth, he gets an extended T, 3 attacks. I gave him a 4 in this field. The FCC Boomer, range 4, template weapon. Again, another fantastic, maybe you don't consider him a heavy, but I had to put him in this category because I think that's the role that he serves. And then the next one would be the CCC Heavy, another extended T, 3 attacks. So once I did that, now I'm going to go and I'll tell you how it all came out. The numbers don't really matter, but overall, my ratings go as follows, and I'll go through the whole list. We got the Behemoth coming out far on top with all the stats that we went over. The FCC Boomer, CCC Heavy, Texaco Heavy, and the Chemvar Heavy all round out probably my second best. Followed by the next two, which I feel are the weakest, which would be the Waza Heavy and the Cephadu Heavy. And falling at the bottom of the list, and I'm sure others will agree, is the ISS Heavy. In my opinion, has to come in at the bottom of the rankings. And that's about all I have for the heavies. I'd love to hear your comments. I think I got it right. I think I had to add the Carnage in there because, as I said, when we look at armor failure and things like that of the Chemvar, it really drops him to the lowest statistical number, but it's certainly not the worst model in the game when it comes to heavies. In fact, he's very, very strong, probably comes in, like I said, he's number 2 in that tier, probably edges out some of the others, but that's what I got. However, before I let you go, I have to tell you, and I'm going to put it down the bottom, we'll put it on the blogs, you got to go check out the Kickstarter that Mercs is doing for a new game called Myth.
Snap to cover. Tutorial.